I'm Lee, and welcome to the Take Back Your Home podcast, where you'll get the tools and inspiration to take back your identity and sanity at home. And with me is Rebecca, who is our lovely course participant that is sharing what she learned and the step-by-step process, really, that's in the course that we sell called Take Back Your Home. And you can check that out at leewatersdesign.com. Just click on the course. So, Rebecca, we've had a couple podcast episodes where you've gone through module 0, which is like the foundational figuring out what's wrong and what do you want. And then the second one was module 1, which was all about layout. And that's a pretty beefy, that was a pretty beefy episode. And we're going to touch again on layout today. But today we're going to talk about module 2, which, don't get confused, but it's the third module out of 5, and it's called module 2. And it's, what is it, like double duty pieces and favorites. So that, as you are laying out your items that you need in a room from the layout module based on what you're going to do in that room, who's going to be sitting or laying or doing puzzles in that room. Are you going to have wine of the month club in there? Like, what kind of furniture do we need? So as we're figuring that out, you have an idea. But then we're going to refine that layout even more as we look at, okay, well, is there types of furniture or pieces that I could bring into the space that are going to play double duty?
Right. And also incorporate the storage piece of that as well.
Yes,
so
storage favorites.
Double duty, and then for good storage pieces, because I just really don't like everything sitting out.
Well, yeah.
Everything all the time. I want things put away.
And isn't it amazing how many of us just kind of keep things out all the time? Like, I don't know about your kitchen, but I think it's a habit thing. Number one, you have to be in the habit of putting things away, but you also need the places to put the things. And sometimes you do have to purge some of the things. So it's kind of this 3-pronged issue that you can't just say, well, okay, I need a bigger kitchen. Like, you will fill that kitchen at some point. So you have to keep on top of purging things. But we get used to just leaving things out instead of trying to find a solution. And so you think about, you're doing your living room for the course. Some people have done their kitchens, bedrooms, all sorts. We have people that are rented, like Rebecca. We've had people renting apartments, renting homes, people that live in condos, people that live in, freestanding homes. So anyone can take this course. But tell us, Rebecca, like, what are some of the things that you had to think about storing in your living room?
Okay, so my kids, let me go over what we use our living room. It's kind of a living room, family room for. First and foremost, it's TV. That's where everybody lands. They drop all their stuff. They pull out all the blankets. And in the morning, it looks like kind of like a teenage bomb went off, because they have not only left stuff out, they've moved my furniture. So that is kind of where we
So you're saying they never stop the fort building, basically?
No, they never stop the fort building. So they are all teenagers, and there is, So I need storage for pencils and pens and everything they're using for their homework, chargers and stuff I want to keep it all in that room. Otherwise, if I don't have a spot for it, then it's being drug into that room, and then it's sitting on the table. And I want to see I love like my table with my pretty aesthetic stuff. I have my art books on it and my candle. I want to see all that.
Styling accessories,
So it's style, and I don't want to see a charger cord. It's all, Plus, we have pets, and I don't know, will my dog chew a cord? Probably. So, that kind of stuff does need to be put away. The dog will also eat pencils. So, I just need to that kind of stuff needs to be put away. So I have my little side table. It's my side table for my long couch doubles as storage for kind of school supplies and things like that. There's a little bit of extra paper in there.
Is that just a drawer? Like what?
It's 2 skinny drawers on it, and they're kind of wide, so it accommodates quite a bit of stuff. I think I even have some coloring books in there for my nieces, and I do occasionally go through and pick stuff out and get rid of it. that drawer. I don't want it to be a junk drawer, but it definitely is that double storage for my kids landing in there to work on homework.
I love that, because you said it's, there are legs to this piece. There's room under the legs, but yet you have the 2 drawers, and that's enough for what you need to store. I think sometimes we think, I need all the storage, and so we go big, like either with a built-in or a big armoire. The problem for that is that, okay, you put your papers and the laptop or whatever on the shelf, then you have 3 feet of room above it.
Yeah.
And what are you going to put there? Like, stuff ends up getting shoved in.
Yeah. Sometimes there's too much. Like,
right.
I have a storage piece in that room right now that doubles as a desk. It's a secretary, but there's 3 drawers in it that I really don't have anything in yet. I mean, I'm sure at some point I'll do something with them, but I got that piece primarily for the secretary so I could set my laptop on it and sit and work there and then put it away.
Blank space is always good. It's good in graphic design. It's good in interior design because, again, we tend to expand to fill, what is that, the law of, or the nature of gas, right? Like, it's going to expand to fill the space that it, that you give it. And it's the same with stuff. I've seen this a lot. You buy a bigger house, you buy more stuff, you buy a big storage thing, it will get filled. Now, if you're in a good habit of going through from time to time, doing that old-fashioned spring cleaning or whatever you want to call it, going through, getting rid of, whether it's donating, recycling, or, giving away, or selling, getting rid of it, making room for what you need in your life at this point.
Yeah, so I was going to add to that. When just having a few storage pieces in that room that are also furniture enables me to come through and tidy up my room in 5 minutes.
That's the whole goal of this course.
Yeah. So someone's saying, like, I'm going to stop by and drop something off for you. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a disaster.
Go.
So everybody knows that this drawer, has this and this drawer has that. We can fold the blanket and put it there. And then really, without, like, full-on cleaning, vacuuming, whatever, I can get in and make that room look really nice, hit some low lighting, light a candle. Okay.
Do you remember in some of those, I don't know if it's a Bond movie, I feel like it's actually a Doris Day movie from the 60s where the bachelor pad, he like presses the button and all the stuff like transforms. Yeah, that's what that just reminded me of. But that really is the goal, like one of the primary goals besides reclaiming your identity and sanity at home is to have a room that can be tidied in 5 minutes. It doesn't necessarily mean a dust and a vacuum, but outside of the kitchen on like Thanksgiving Day, you really should be able to put your room back together in 5 minutes or less. And because rooms are meant to be lived in, but there's nothing wrong with wanting your room to look presentable, just like you don't wear dirty stained shirts when you go out. I mean, if we can help it. Sometimes we do, but in general, we try to put our best foot forward. There's nothing wrong with wanting that for your house.
How do you feel, though? I feel when I get up in the morning and I walk into my, let's say, kitchen, and it's a mess, I kind of start the day on a little bit of a sour note personally. It just makes me feel good to be in a clean home. And so if I can tidy a room very quickly, if we can talk about a 5-minute kitchen tidy, I would love that.
Yes, we'll work on that. Yeah, I mean, I'd say like after most meals, it's probably a 10-minute job for me. But you and we have households where we cook a lot from scratch. That's just, we're foodies. And so there's a lot of pans getting used. But I bet, and I'll have to talk to some of my all-in or full-service clients about this, but I bet that some of the kitchens that we've done and like kind of the average way that people prepare meals, I bet you could get some of these things like load up the dishwasher real quick, cover up leftovers, you got a big enough fridge and, the right system going through the kitchen. I bet some of them really could be tidied in about 5 minutes. It's
important. I mean, it definitely sanity is a major sticking point for me when talking about putting together a room and having the right options, because it really bothers me to have a room that's not, I don't know, the joints don't match. It just really is bothersome.
And I think there's some psychology to that. I mean, or not even psychology, but more just brain science. When your brain sees something, it has to process what it is. So the more stuff that's left out, whether it's your kitchen counters or your kids leaving their homework on the coffee table. And obviously you have to enforce the rule or the standard. So if you're saying, I want these things put away at the end, you do have to enforce that. And some people are going to say, hey, that's not worth it to me. And that's cool. You probably aren't into this podcast either, because I can't give you a house that helps you with your sanity if everything is a mess. I'd say 98% of people are what we call non-screeners, where you see, that's a made-up statistic about the 98%, but I'd say the majority of people cannot screen out what they see visually, because again, that brain science, your brain has to process everything it sees. So if everything is left out, your brain, after making 1,001 decisions about, which 10 cereals you're going to eat, where you're going to which route you're going to take to get to the dry cleaners,
right,
how you're going to strategize getting 3 kids to 2 buildings at the exact same time for their
right,
lessons, you're just done. Your brain doesn't need any extra work, right? We need pretty.
Place.
You need calm. You need pretty. You need order. You deserve these things. Don't let anyone else tell you, or don't let anyone tell you that you don't, because it's
right.
hashtag science, okay? So we're looking through these double duty pieces. I want to go back to that. Sorry to keep harping on this one piece.
Okay.
Or not harping, but getting excited about this piece. Okay. She's got this end table that's got 2 drawers. She's putting in, the flat laying things, the papers and thin books and maybe a laptop or whatever, pencils. So that fits great. My question is, could you fit a little footstool under that?
Not under that, because it
how much
kind
room
of
do you
butts
have?
up next to the fireplace hearth.
Oh,
it's a little. It's it's like probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But vertically, you have the room. Maybe just not how it fits in your room.
But I do have footstools in there. The footstools sit kind of. They're a little bit in the way, but it's at the back of the pathway. So it's not something people are passing through.
Right.
But I do have footstools that are out, and unfortunately they don't fit under any furniture. They could sit on the hearth, and they can just sit where they are.
Well, your coffee table is kind of low.
Yeah.
Like a lower profile, which works for her lower profile sofas. But I just want to point this out as one of my favorite double duty favorites, whether it's an end table, a console table, or even a desk that has some sort of vertical space underneath it where you get that flat storage in it. You get pretty storage for a thing like your functional or decorative objects like a lamp. That has to be, quote, stored. And I know that seems like a weird way to think about it, but the lamp isn't going to float in air, and the lamp's not going to sit on the ground unless it's a floor lamp. So you got to store that somewhere. I've got air quotes going when I say store. So that's one of the things that we talk about in here, like, okay, we've got to have a place to put a lamp if we're not doing a wall sconce or a floor lamp. So that's going to need a surface. Can that surface store things? Can that surface hold an ottoman under it? So when you do have that wine or cheese of the month club and you have 20 people in your living room instead of, and don't think tangent rant, you don't need a 4,000 or even a 3,000 square foot house to have 20 people over. No. My house is not even 2,400 square feet. We had a housewarming party in there that had just shy of 100 people. So fun. We had a comedian, we had music, it was awesome. I've also had many events where there were more than 20 people in my living room, and it's not what you call, it's not a tiny living room, but it's on the smaller side of medium. So have the people over. You just need, something to put them on. But these footstools or these ottomans that can be stored under a coffee table if it's a little bit taller than what you have, or, putting cushions on top of your fireplace.
That I want to do.
Hearth, that's the word, or hearth.
That's on That's on my list of things to get for this room is cushions for the fireplace.
And if you want to use the fireplace, hopefully you can store those cushions. They don't have to be 4 inches thick. You could do a thinner profile, super dense foam that will hold up to an adult's weight and not crush. So it's high quality foam, but you can get that in only an inch, inch and a half, and then, or even 2 inches. And then when you're not using it in the winter, because you actually got a fire going, she has a wood burning fireplace, you can just slide that under your sofas. Right. So it's not getting, soot on it, or, maybe you're entertaining less in the winter. Whatever the thing is, if you don't want it out, you can slide that under your sofa possibly. So this whole module is all about how can we make something do at least 2 jobs, if not 3. So you can look at your notes if you need to, but do you have any kind of realizations that came up for you? Like, oh, I could do this. Or, I mean, obviously we just talked about the hearth, right? Like it's a hearth and it has a purpose for, you can perch there for a second, or you can, while you're dealing with the fire, but you can also do the cushion. And then the hearth is just, again, to catch things from going on the floor, right?
I realized that my coffee table is also a homework station, which I personally wouldn't want to sit there and do any kind of writing, but my kids love to lean against the back of the couch.
Yeah.
And it's
it's soft.
Big, it's a big coffee table. So they play games there, and I wouldn't have thought that. That's not comfortable.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've seen those pieces of furniture that are entire consoles, and people call them like a homework console because you put it behind the sofa. And if you have room for that, that's great. Yeah. We just did that in the, what is it called? The St. Jude Dream Home that we did here in Midlothian, Virginia. And we did a console table with stools. They were the cutest little zebra from Greenfront.
Dining room chairs, weren't they?
They were like some sort of dining swivel fabric thing. They were fabulous. They were green. Going on a tangent now, but anytime there's animal print involved, I gotta go off. It's
they were really fun.
Yeah, zebra print, like zebras, not zebra print, but like zebras, white and black on a green background. They swiveled. We put them at the console behind the sofa with the idea that here, not just for homework, but this was a very petite townhome where that living room was the only common area outside of the dining room that was adjacent. And so we really did need to have a variety, and that was what we found.
And there wasn't a lot of space, and that really worked well. You could even,
need a
snack there and plug their laptop in. No, that was really smart. Yeah. I didn't feel like there was going to be enough room, but
for what you have, that's not, you've basically now, because your kids are good with being on the floor as teenagers, you don't need that homework console.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so you saved yourself from having to buy another piece of furniture.
But if I were to put a console there, it would just be decorative.
It's going to be like an artistic sculptural one. And that is fulfilling a need, because as we talked about in episode 1, where we talk about like, what do you need? What do you want in this space? Let's start there. Rebecca shared with all of us about her art collection and how much she fundamentally needs art, because she's moved how many times in 20 years of marriage?
I don't know.
Count.
18, 20.
18, 20. So for her, that artwork is the thing that makes her home instantly like be her home.
And my kids feel the same way.
I love that.
And I have art that was given to me by my parents that hung in our home, and it just, in the same, like you walk into my sister's home and it feels like home to me too, because she's got art that we had in our home growing up and mixed it with her own art, and so it just feels homey all around. So
cool. So in this module, I go through, in the recorded videos, I go through several examples of different types of double duty pieces and also some of my storage favorites. I'm going to share one, and maybe by the time I'm done, you'll have thought of one that maybe you're using, maybe you're not, but just maybe one of the ones that you remembered. Mine was, so if you have an end table, Zach, our producer, if you can show this end table on the screen, if you have an end table like this, some people would say, what? That's not an end table. That thing is huge. Well, actually, I think this thing's 30 inches diameter and it's 30 inches tall. And they sold it as a very, like a small cafe sized dining table, which it 100% could be. Sure. And if you live in an apartment in a city, you probably do have a dining table that also functions as your desk. And that's great. So people that live in apartments are often much more ahead of the rest of us in terms of living with things that have to play double and triple duty. But I love to go on these rants to teach the people, to help the people. Yeah, that's right. Again, you need the tools, right? So here's the information. So end tables that are like 24 inches tall, unless you have a very small sofa, that is about where my hand is. I don't know if you can show that, Zach, where my hand is. That's about 24 inches off the ground. It's 4 inches above 20-inch height seat or sofa. Maybe you have a lower sofa that's 18, but for the most part, like, that's putting your lamp right here. Well, my eyes are up here, so that lamp is not where it needs to be. Your lamp needs to be up here, shining that diagonal beam to where your book is, or, you know, you're knitting, or whatever it is that you're doing, your horoscope book. You need to have the light in your lap and about hand height. So you want something, here's the information, end tables. You want it tall enough, like 27 inches minimum, preferably like 28 to 31. It could be taller depending on what kind of double duty it's playing. Like maybe it's a little secretary that has a little top you can put a lamp on, and then you fold that top down, and that becomes a place you can put drinks or whatever. Some people will always leave the tops down on their secretaries because they were a desk, right? Secretary desks were meant to be a place you could sit and write a letter and then fold up the mess and not look at it.
Right.
But we can leave them open. You could style them. You could pay your bills from there, or, you know, open up a laptop from there. I'm tangenting upon tangent here. But the point is, get something tall and get it as big as you can, because then, say we've got a lamp or a floor lamp instead of a table lamp, or a table lamp that's sturdy enough, it doesn't mind being moved from time to time. Or maybe even the table lamp has enough room that we could do a puzzle here. We don't have to clean it up at the end of the night. Have you ever tried to do a puzzle with your kids and then you're like, I can't handle looking at this. We're going to like slide this onto a board. Of course, the thing falls apart. Everyone's crying. You're like, I'm just going to shove this under the sofa. And they're like, not my puzzle. So, you know, to me, it's like, get something as big as you can if you like puzzles or Legos. For our family, it's not puzzles as much because I ruined it by not having a big enough table to do puzzles on back in the day. So my kids are anti-puzzle. They do Legos. They want to show, they want to add to the Legos over the weeks. And so it needs a home to live on. And I say, as long as it's a creation, it can stay there. The loose pieces have to go into a little thing, slide that under into the drawer. But the creation can stay there. Yeah. We consider that a temporary sculpture in my house. So get it tall enough, get a big enough surface for what you need it to do.
Okay, so I'm going to jump rooms. So I did buy a table very similar to this. That was a dining room table. Okay. It had more surface space, but it has the same, like, is that called a tulip base? What is this base called?
This is like a tulip base. Zach, I don't know if you can show this tulip base. Got that? Okay.
So you can like tuck legs under there.
Or a pedestal base.
Yeah. So you can tuck legs. So I got one that had a cast iron base, so it's really heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And I really loved it. And I had all these plans to do a banquet in my dining area, my breakfast area, in my kitchen. And then I kind of lost steam on that project. And then I had this big table, and now what do I do with it? And then I realized this is such a perfect homework table. So I moved it up to my daughter's room. And now 2 people can sit at a desk and do homework together. She paints her nails probably every 2 days.
I was going to say, is this the homework table or is this a nail table?
This is a nail salon.
But you made it possible, Mama, so go you.
So it's a piece of furniture that I thought that I had purchased erroneously. What a mistake. It wasn't. It ended up being, and I hadn't thought of using it as a desk until I thought, where the heck am I going to put this now that I have it? So we do. We use that dining table as her desk now, and she loves it. And then I moved another piece of furniture in its place. So.
And I think the reason that you do that so successfully, find pieces and are able to move them around from house to house and apartment to apartment, is because you are really good about buying things that you love. And you're like, and you have an inherent ability with scale. Everyone else, I teach you how to measure in the course. I mean, even as a professional interior designer, where I would like to think I'm really good with scale. My framer recently, I had something over there and we were talking about a 2-inch. I said, I kind of gestured with my finger like a 2-inch. He said, hold your fingers there. And he got a ruler and he goes, girl, there's nothing wrong with your eyes. Because it was exactly 2 inches. So I'm good, but I still have to measure things. But you're so good at buying what you love. And when you do that, and we talk about that in the course.
I don't hesitate, though.
Well, because you know what you love.
I've been shopping.
You know your identity.
I move fast through, and I can see if I like it or not. And I do buy a lot of stuff on Marketplace. I want really high quality furniture.
Facebook, if you want to sponsor this, please reach out to Morrisette Media. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want high quality furniture. I can't always afford my projects because I'm constantly redoing things and moving things around.
It's a pleasure for you.
It is. I really enjoy doing it. And my husband, not so much, because he has to move a lot of furniture.
There's always one person in the couple that's like, why are we changing this? Sometimes it's the man, sometimes it's the woman. They're just like, you're like, you don't have to internalize this. This is about me. This has nothing to do with you. Just
that cast iron base on
tell me if you hate it. Yeah.
And I probably own the most heavy piece of furniture that our movers ever had.
Oh, is it that Century sideboard that you got? Yeah. Century's a really high-end brand. Love to have them as a sponsor as well, but yeah.
The heaviest thing they'd ever moved.
Yeah.
So we hire people to move that kind of stuff, but and that also doubles as my craft area.
Yes, it holds so much.
It holds a lot of stuff. I love that.
Well, and because you already had that skill of being able to know what you like and know your identity, I think that sounds all well and good for you. But do you feel like going through the exercises at the beginning of the course, and I don't know if you've done the aesthetic exercise in the bonus section yet, so would you say that the course content would help someone that's like, I don't really know what I like?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I think that's really key to mention that, yes, Rebecca's good with scale. Yeah. Yes, she knows what she likes. Yes, she's creative.
I definitely had to measure stuff, though. I mean, I was looking at, I went back listening to the other podcast, and there were things that I definitely didn't realize how much I could fit. And I'm a maximalist, so I'm always willing to put more in. And this little, I've got this nesting, a bamboo side table that's nesting.
Yep.
The little bottom table is the cutest thing you've ever seen. It is so tiny. It nests like 8.
I think you're actually answering that first question that I had asked, not first question, but that question that I'd asked about, like, I'm going to say a double duty favorite, and then we tangent.
Oh, that's
but I mean, nesting tables are a great example of, like,
so many.
You can keep them together, you can group them in different groupings, like, all of a sudden you have that, whatever of the month, you've got tables.
When I finished the modules and you came over and did, is it called the evaluation?
Yeah, so in the course, it's lifetime access, but during the course, you're entitled to one complimentary design review. And so we did her design review, and that's where you've kind of said, okay, I feel like I've done what I can do with the information that I have. What do you see as an expert, Lee, to help me review this?
So much more. So you just made me realize that I could add more that I thought I possibly couldn't. And
which is important for you and I, because we don't have huge homes. No. So it's like, at least by American standards, we have not even small homes, but like I'd say like average, but that's not what you see on social media. Yeah. You see, and I don't think people even realize how expensive the homes that you're seeing from some of these amazing world-class designers. Like, they might be doing the Hamptons cottage, which is like 8,000 square feet for like a Saudi prince or something. Like, you don't know. And so while it pops up on your feed and it might feel attainable because it has like a charming cottage aesthetic, that might be a room that's like got $400,000 worth of stuff in it. Right. And so again, tangenting is like a talent of mine, but coming back to what you said, it was important to maximize. You have 4 kids and a husband and 2 dogs, and you like to, like, you're a social person, so you need places to store all the things and to put all the butts.
And I also, which is not the style right now, going like on, decorating shows, is I don't really love open concept.
Yes,
I like my rooms, I like doors, I like cozier spaces, and so that actually gives me more opportunity for more pieces of furniture and hanging more art. I like that.
Yeah.
And I like to keep my chaos to the room that it was intended for. TV room, any space in here.
I love that
No.
phrasing. I like to keep my chaos this way. Yeah, we all have chaos, right? And it's just a matter of,
stays in
how
the
do you need your chaos to be? So whatever we've said, it's working for us, but the course is all designed to teach you how to manage your chaos, right? And one thing to say, if you think, oh gosh, I can't do this course because I have an open layout, that's not true. In fact, if anything, if you have a layout, open layout, most of our clients come to us with open layouts.
Right.
Not all, but I'd say it's like the slight majority. And so really, most of the reason they end up coming to us, besides not having the time to do the project and a lack of desire, the next biggest reason, they're like, we've moved this furniture all over. We cannot figure out without walls how to figure out how to put it in there. Yeah. And so we teach you in the course exactly how to figure out how to put that, like how to get your walkways through the space or around the furniture groupings, how to deal with furniture groupings, because when you don't have walls, you can create like these groupings that create
almost
space.
Like a room.
Yeah, a room within a larger space. So do you have any final thoughts about this module, about double duty, I'm trying to get the name right, double duty favorites and storage favorites, whatever it is. Double duty pieces and storage favorites.
Not really.
That's cool. That's cool. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Verve Home Furnishings. They have some new, some pre-owned, some vintage pieces here in the Richmond, Virginia area at their shop. You've got to go check it out. It is a merchandising experience or shopping experience,
so
unlike any other in the city. And if you don't live in Richmond, you can check out Kim's shop on Instagram. So Verve Home Furnishings is her handle. We also want to give a shout out to our other sponsor, Tech Painting Co. They service the Richmond area and I think they're pretty much the whole state of Virginia. They can do commercial, but we're going to focus on their residential services because that's our clientele at Lee Waters Design. And you can reach them also on Instagram, Tech Painting Co. And so reach out to them, figure out how to get somebody come over, give you an estimate. But what I love about working with Tech for our clients, and we have them creating a quote for us right now for adding wall trim to a 2-story entry, adding crown molding to another room, painting several rooms, and doing wallpaper installation. They can do drywall repair. They can do a lot of exterior repairs as well, but they're really a one-stop shop. They can also lacquer chairs or a coffee table, which is the most durable sort of painted coating finish. So we love Verve and Tech and appreciate their sponsorship. Thank you for watching and listening to this episode. We will see you in another couple weeks. Bye.